Hello, I'm Bernard Combe of the Education for Sustainable Development section at UNESCO headquarters, and I'd like to share a few insights into the new ESD for 2030 framework and how it deals with engaging with biodiversity. ESD has been around for quite a while already, since the 1970s. The global efforts to strengthen the role of education for sustainable development had started in the early 70s, 1972, at the time of the Stockholm Conference, but it gained global traction through Chapter 36 of Agenda 21, adopted at the Rio Earth Summit in 1992, and the subsequent launch of the UN Decade on Education for Sustainable Development from 2005 to 2014. The UN Decade was followed by the 5 years of the Global Action Programme on ESD, which was led by a group of 97 key partners and reached about 37 million learners and 2 million teachers around the world. The launch of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals in 2015 brought renewed emphasis on the role of ESD, as recognized explicitly in Target 4.7. This globally agreed target aims to ensure by 2030 that all learners acquire the knowledge and skills to promote sustainable development. Now, in 2020, we are facing serious challenges. In the short term, the COVID-19 pandemic, and in the long term, the climate and biodiversity crisis. This is why UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said, "We are in a battle for our lives. What we know, what we believe in, and what we do needs to change. What we have learned so far does not prepare us for the challenge. This cannot go on. We must urgently learn to live differently." UNESCO, as the lead UN agency on ESD, is pleased to launch a new global framework on ESD called Education for Sustainable Development towards achieving the SDGs, or in short, ESD for 2030, as the follow-up to the gap in the period of 2020 to 2030. The ESD for 2030 framework aims to fully integrate ESD and the 17 SDGs into policies, learning environments, capacity building of educators, empowerment and mobilization of young people, and local level actions. And the roadmap underlines the plan of action to implement the framework over the next 10 years. Through pursuing the goals and objectives of ESD for 2030, in 10 years' time, we aim to create a world in which governments mainstream ESD in their education and sustainable development policies, learners acquire the knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes for sustainable development through a whole institution approach, educators are well prepared to foster societal transformation for sustainable futures, youth are strongly encouraged to be the agents of change for sustainable development, and all people in cities and communities are equipped as lifelong learners to take action for sustainability at the local level. Let us now dive into what, how, and who. There are three key features raised in the framework. First, the emphasis on education's role for the achievement of the 17 SDGs. The UN General Assembly recognized that ESD is an integral element of this Sustainable Development Goal on quality education and a key enabler of all the other Sustainable Development Goals. While all ESD work mobilizes action towards the achievement of the SDG, ESD raises the awareness and action on the 17 goals and education settings. ESD also promotes critical and conceptualized understanding of the SDGs, which invites the learners to see the interlinkages and tension between the goals in their local, national, and regional contexts. In the next 10 years, which may be our last window of opportunity to turn our fate around, ESD must focus on the big transformation that is needed for sustainable development and how education can provide relevant intervention. ESD can employ learning content, pedagogy, and learning environment that promotes transformative action of individual learners. Individual actions are intertwined with structural changes that aim to transform the deep causes of the crisis we face today. Moreover, ESD has to respond to the opportunities and challenges brought about by technical advances and reinforce the core values of sustainability. The urgency of the existential crisis calls for stronger leadership of member states. To this end, ESD for 2030 focuses on country initiatives through which countries can address the five priority action areas, engage all concerned stakeholders, and advocate and mobilize resources. UNESCO invites all member states to launch country initiatives on ESD for 2030, building on existing work on ESD and creating a new momentum. These efforts should be aligned with UNESCO's global priorities on Africa and gender equality, and a particular emphasis should be placed on small island developing states. Now, how should we specifically promote the 17 SDGs, the big individual and societal transformation and country leadership? During the consultations to develop the ESD for 2030 framework, ESD stakeholders have called for continued investments around the five priority action area which had been established for the GAP, namely on advancing policy to integrate ESD into education policies and all policies on sustainable development, transforming learning environments to apply whole institution approaches to ESD where learners learn what they live and live what they learn, building capacity of educators to develop ESD capacity through pre-service and in-service training of educators, empowering and mobilizing youth to create opportunities for young people and engage them as key actors, and accelerating local level actions to develop community action plan to promote individual and societal transformation. Clearly, a multi-stakeholder approach is key to the success. How can we implement the five priority action areas of ESD for 2030? At the heart of the implementation are country initiatives on ESD for 2030. All UNESCO member states are invited to launch their own country initiative to lead the mainstreaming of ESD in education and sustainable development. The new framework will encourage strong partnership and collaboration through ESD for 2030 network, ESDNet, at global and regional levels, which will invite the representatives of country initiatives and other ESD actors from education and sustainable development communities. Communication and advocacy efforts, including the UNESCO Japan ESD Prize, will be strengthened. Evidence-informed implementation of the framework by tracking issues and trends in education and sustainable development, and mobilizing resources through making full use of the intersectoral multidisciplinary nature of UNESCO, as well as its diverse partners, should be further strengthened. Various efforts to monitor the progress will be pursued with the aim of achieving SDG target 4.7 by 2030. Let me at this time quote Stefania Giannini, our Assistant Director General for Education. We are increasingly asking if what people learn is truly relevant to their lives, if what they learn helps to ensure the survival of our planet. Education for sustainable development can provide the knowledge, awareness, and action that empower people to transform themselves and transform societies. Thus, ESD is no longer a feel-good care for nature topic in the margins of education. It should be now in the heart, hands, and heads of learners. The decade of action between 2020 and 2023 will define our very survival. This is simply the time to take action. There is no time to lose and possibly no second chance. It is time to bring together actors in all walks of life and transform learning. It is now or never. It's about providing everyone with the opportunity to learn and acquire skills to shape a sustainable future. It's about empowering learners of all ages to become proactive agents to build a more sustainable and peaceful world. It's also about promoting awareness and motivating people to do the right thing. It's about raising awareness, educating, taking action, going out there and doing things. It's about improving knowledge and citizens' actions. It's about encouraging intergenerational learning and sharing between generations, between people, between countries. It's about supporting transformative change and empowerment. It's about promoting responsibility and behavior change. It's about empowering, mobilizing young people, finding role models for them. It's about using innovative learning and training approaches. It's about exploring and testing innovative solutions. It's about encouraging networked in thinking and action. It's about sharing knowledge, good practices, and experiences. In conclusion, what to do? Basically, very simple. Remember that education, learning is about life. This is about actions and commitments. It's about relationships, communities, and collaboration. It's about memory, building on experiences, imagination, using creativity, listening, finding intuitive ways to respond to things, communicating, sharing, and most important of all, the sense of belonging to one humanity, to one planet. Remember, education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. Remember also, sustainability is not just something to learn, it's something to live, it's something to embody. Thank you.